Christmas is a very special time of the year. We spend time with family, we reflect on the year that's ending, and we look forward to the year that's coming. For a lot of folks, this includes watching Christmas movies, including the classics like A Christmas Story, the Santa Claus series, Jingle All the Way, shout out to Arnold, and many more. Now, when I heard there was a reboot of Home Alone coming out, I, like most longtime fans I imagine, was not excited. If 2021 taught us anything, it's that reboots of cult classics and fan favorites hardly work, if ever. And when they do work, you can tell how much caution was used when stepping into the universe in question. Now, I promise you all, this channel won't just be me negatively critiquing the media, that's not my angle. But let me tell you how Disney Plus didn't give a fuck about your childhood and traded it for money. If you're vibing with this video, don't be afraid to hit like, comment, and subscribe. You guys make my day, and I definitely want to hear your thoughts and recommendations for the next video topic so we can grow the channel together. It's impossible to not start this video off with the key differences between our two main characters over time, Kevin McAllister and Max Mercer. A lot of adjectives can be used to describe Kevin, but honestly, I don't think straight up disrespectful is one of them. He has some really unlikable moments, most notably in the opening scene of Home Alone 1. A key moment to point out is the classic line,
"Hang up the phone and make me, why don't you?"
If I said that, I would have been put to sleep that night and woken up on Christmas Day. But in all seriousness, Kevin was not outwardly disrespectful to anyone unprovoked, and it can clearly be inferred that Kevin is the black sheep of the family. Max, on the other hand, is outwardly bratty towards Jeff, unprovoked. Jeff only starts being snarky with Max in response to his mocking him over his dead mother's doll collection. This is something that I just couldn't see Kevin doing to an adult. Max's house is crowded with extended family, yes, but when comparing the opening scenes, it's blatantly obvious that Max is more bothered by his extended family being there than they are with having to be in the same house with him. In Kevin's opening scenes, you can easily get a feel of how antagonistic his family is towards him without him having to provoke them at all. Even though he did cause a chain reaction of chaos in the kitchen, you could hardly take a look at the scenes leading up to Kevin charging at Buzz and say that this is super out of the ordinary for a big brother, little brother dynamic. What's not as relevant, but also plays a decent sized part in any movie, is the look of the characters. Character design wise, Kevin is your typical 8-year-old all-American boy. He could probably get away with a lot more mischief than most kids due to his innocent looking face and his youthful voice. Outside of that, it'd be pretty hard to ask someone on the street what they think of this kid and get a response like, "Oh, he looks annoying," or "This movie looks dumb." Max, on the other hand, looks like the protagonist of a game that came stock with the PlayStation 5. A game you can let your younger brother play to leave you alone. Jojo Rabbit was low-key slept on. When it came out, I didn't want to go see it in theaters at all. But at this point, young Archie Yates has the acting strength of a comic relief or a side character at best, and I'm saying that because he has the room and potential to grow as an actor. My issue with Disney casting him for the Home Alone reboot is the fact that they had a real-life example of what a poorly done sequel looks like with Home Alone 3's total flop. Having this knowledge and knowing that reboots are always thin ice territories leaves very little room for grace for Disney Plus, in my opinion. Something that really bothered me was the scene where they did a new rendition of everyone's favorite mob flick, Angels with Filthy Souls. If you didn't know, they made up that movie for the Home Alone series specifically. It's not real, but we love it. Anyway, now it's a sci-fi flick that looks like Star Wars mixed with some old school Marvel wardrobe. In this scene, we get a line,
"I don't know why they're always trying to remake the classics. Never as good as the originals."
Here's something that everyone should know, and honestly I'm surprised they still try to pull this in movies. Acknowledging that your movie is bad on screen does not make your movie exempt from being bad. It's not some edgy way to excuse your film away from criticism. In my opinion, if you and your team gave it your all on a project, and it's bad or it's not received well by audiences, then at least you know you left it all on the set, and I can respect that. On a positive note, Devin Rattray reprises his role as Buzz McAllister, who ironically grew up and became a police officer. The movie acknowledges that the first two Home Alones are canon, and there's a scene where Buzz is getting a call to check out an address because Max may have been left behind home alone. He tells dispatch that it's probably a prank call that his little brother Kevin does every year to give him a hard time about the 2 instances where the family accidentally left him behind while on vacation. They also use the same elements as the "you want us to go to your house just to check on him" scene in the original movie. This is probably my favorite scene in the movie because there's nostalgia and familiarity with both the acting and the plot, but it's so simple. In 2 minutes, they managed to give the audience something to genuinely smile about, and they even use some of the same original music. Now we gotta talk about the Mackenzies. Pam and Jeff are the new Harry and Marv, but unlike our original duo, the Mackenzies aren't just criminals. They're motivated by much more wholesome and relatable circumstances. Basically, they can't afford to keep their house as Jeff recently lost his job due to the industry he's in being unstable. They're actively working to sell their house with realtor, veteran funny guy Keaton Thompson. But the kids have no idea that their childhood home is on the market because the Mackenzies have kept it all a secret. One night, while online, Jeff discovers that one of the dolls I mentioned Max making fun of him for holding on to earlier is actually very rare and could sell for $200,000. Jeff tries to grab the doll and finds out that it's missing. His only suspect is Max Mercer, and this starts the journey of him trying to get it back from him while Max defends himself in a house of traps in a typical Home Alone fashion. Ellie Kemper from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is an entertaining and versatile actress. To me, she pretty much carried a lot of the non-Max scenes. This movie juggled the stories of the Mackenzie family, Carol Mercer, and Max Mercer. And this unfortunately created the movie's biggest problem: heart. If you Google Home Alone 1, you'll see that it's a family/comedy. If you Google Home Sweet Home Alone, you'll see that it's a comedy. In Home Alone 1 and 2, we get to go on a journey with Kevin, of course, but we also go on a journey with Kevin's mother. These 2 films were paced very well, and by the time Kevin is reunited with his mother and family, you feel the significance of it. You watch the struggle and challenges around every corner that Catherine had to overcome for her son. The originals were heartfelt family stories first, and comedies second, but they captured the elements of both genres very well. We can all remember our favorite lines, booby traps, and moments that cracked us up, but we can also remember the feelings these movies brought. They simply just had heart. This reboot, however, severely lacked heart. There wasn't enough time for characters to develop. The plot was all a big misunderstanding, which made it feel like there was never really anything on the line for Max, whereas for Kevin, he nearly died multiple times. And they tried to use cheap tricks like remixed versions of the original soundtrack, and even Max's mom dressing up like Kevin's mom with the same style and color scheme, just to try and milk nostalgia from us. Home Sweet Home Alone was dragged by critics. Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb pulled no punches with Disney+, but I'm gonna be straightforward yet fair. I didn't go into this movie expecting it to surpass or even scrape the originals. It's not the worst thing I've seen this year by a long shot, and it's honestly kinda cute sometimes. I enjoyed the classic Home Alone booby trap scene, except for the horrendous CGI they used for the Coke bottles and the flour bag, but that 8-ball gun is pretty cool. If you're a fan of Christmas movies, no matter how corny, and just want to binge watch some things you may have not seen before, it's probably worth adding to your list. I'm also willing to bet that it would be a decent Christmas movie for kids who have no investment in the Home Alone series. But if you're a big fan of the series and you feel like you're gonna hate it, I'd just say avoid it. But honestly, if you are a big Home Alone fan, then why not give it a shot? I'm gonna give Home Sweet Home Alone a 4 out of 10.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.